Good evening. It's Sunday night and it's Satsang with John and Michelle.
Hi, everybody.
Michelle's had a haircut.
I have.
Yes, and tonight we're looking at tools for awakening. We're going to share some very valuable tools, and they're all very simple, very simple. But if we use them, if we focus on them, if we value them, your life will change, absolutely guaranteed. And we'd also like tonight to send energy to all the firefighters in Cape Town around the Rondebosch Observatory area. Dear old UCT has had some really fire there. The library, one of the sections of the library is burning.
The library, the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant, I think the old
windmill.
Right.
Yeah, we've had a very strange,
to get it under control,
very strange wind. I mean, it was so calm and quiet this morning, and then we've had this wind come up, this berg wind, and then it disappears again. So the weather is playing funny tricks today. But I know that if we send them love and strength, I think it'll all be sorted out. And we're going to also ask for rain. So super. So welcome everyone. We love your community, adding your energy to this group. I think the world at this time really needs groups and communities like this. The field of consciousness that we create when we do these satsangs, very powerful, and it's a very valuable tool of transformation at this time. It's a tool of healing. It's a tool of enlightenment. So if you enjoy what we have to share, then please can you share it on your Facebook timeline. Press the like button, and we love getting those hearts as well. So thank you and welcome to everyone tonight. We really love these Sunday night satsangs with you. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for joining us. We'll add our energy to the collective tonight.
Yes,
I think Cape Town definitely needs it. I'm sure other parts of the country too.
Yeah, other parts of the world.
Other parts of the world. But we're going to definitely focus some of it on Cape Town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, so let's start as we always do with a centering meditation. And meditation quite simply means clearing our mind of all the junk that we fill it with on a day-to-day basis. And it all revolves around our thoughts, our mind, our preferences, our judgments. And so what we do is when we start the satsangs, we always just clear that from our consciousness so we become more aligned with what we call the vertical plane, more aligned with reality, more aligned with the pure spirit, the essence of life. So if you'd like to just make yourselves comfortable, settle back in your chairs, see that you've got some comfy cushions, and that you won't be disturbed for the next 10-15 minutes while we do this, the meditation to begin with. And then tonight we're going to be looking at sharing some tools for awakening. So just settle back, and maybe you'd like to just gently close your eyes and just center your awareness into just this moment. And we do that by withdrawing our mind from all other times and all other places and just becoming centered in our physical body. The body is always present. It's only our mind that goes places. And so the physical body is a good place to connect to life through. So let's just become aware of our feet on the floor, and let's just have an intention of connecting to Mother Gaia beneath our feet. Mother Gaia is an incredible intelligence that provides all our needs. And right now we invoke Mother Gaia to bring rain to Cape Town, to help alleviate the devastating fires in Rondebosch. So what we do is we visualize, we feel, we smell, we taste the rain. We feel it falling. We see the gutters of the roads filled with rain. We see the leaves dripping with rain. We see the trees cloaked in rain. And we say, thank you for this rain. Thank you for this rain. Thank you for this rain. Thank you. And now we bring our awareness to what's called the breath of life. It's that beautiful, wonderful oxygen that we get from the air and we bring it into our lungs. So we take a very deep breath in, drawing the air right the way down to those feet. And then a beautiful, long, relaxing, releasing out breath, just letting it all go, letting it all go. And we take another very deep breath in, blowing our tummy up like a big ball. So we're really pulling the air down, and then that beautiful, long, surrendering breath out. And as we breathe out, we drop our shoulders, relax our neck muscles, and just center ourselves even deeper into our body. It's the out breath that's important. Take a deep breath in again, blowing the whole body up. So you're drawing the air right the way down and up to the top of your head. So you're really blowing the whole body up, and then that long, releasing, surrendering out breath, sinking deeper into the present moment as you breathe out. Just relax. And now just allow life to gently breathe you in and out, and just focus your awareness on that slight pause between the in-breath and the out-breath, and the out-breath and the in-breath. Just become aware of that little gap where nothing happens. A slight pause. Allow that pause into your awareness. Your awareness is that pause. Your awareness is a space into which the breath arises and the breath leaves. That is awareness. So we center our awareness on the tip of our nose, and we just monitor the in-breath and the out-breath without controlling it, but just bringing our awareness fully to focus on this wonderful gift, the breath of life. And as we do that, so we become quiet inside. And we're able to listen more intently than before. So what can you hear? You can hear my voice, but what else can you hear? Just listen very carefully now. Listen to the space between any sounds. Listen to the space, the stillness that lies underneath all sounds. Notice what happens when you put your awareness on the space, the stillness. Notice how much quieter you become inside as you truly listen to the stillness that underlies all sound. In our day-to-day lives, we focus so much on the objects, but not so much on the space that holds the objects. The stillness is the space that allows all sound to exist in. So let's just focus our awareness on the stillness, on the space, on the emptiness. Listen very carefully right now to the silence underneath the sounds. And at the same time, feel your body from the inside. Still aware of your feet, connecting to Mother Earth. Bring your awareness up to the crown of your head and connect with Father Sky. Feeling your body from the inside. Focusing on the stillness that underlies all thinking, all sound, all activity. Listen very carefully now and see if you can hear the beating of your own heart in your eardrums. Every time your heart beats, it pushes that pressure wave through your eardrums. So listen very carefully. And notice the awareness that's listening. And as your heart beats, it pushes the blood through your arteries and veins, having been through the lungs to collect oxygen, takes this oxygenated blood to every single one of your billions of cells in your body, down the tiny little capillaries, bathing, nourishing every cell in your body right now. Just become aware of all of the cells in your body right now being cared for by this intelligence called life that beats your heart, that breathes you, that heals you. The same intelligence that listens. Become aware of the stillness within you. And notice how beautiful it is. Notice as you see this beauty within, that your heart opens, and allow love to flow through this opening. And we send with this stillness, with this open heart, we send a blessing to all the firefighters in Cape Town. We send a blessing to all those that may have had loss from the fire. With our hearts open and our awareness quiet and still, we also bring into our awareness anyone who needs healing in this moment, anyone in our awareness that needs healing. We surround them in a bubble of stillness, quietness, a bubble of light, a bubble of life, bubble of love, knowing that love is the ultimate healer. And into this bubble we place the earth and all who live on her. Tonight we feel this bubble of love bringing healing and light, alleviating stress, fear and anxiety, and allowing people to connect more directly with their divine presence. Now take another very deep breath into your body, drawing the air right the way down to your feet, up to the top of your head like a big ball, bigger and bigger, and then that long out breath. Just surrender, let everything go, let it all go. And when you're ready, you may gently open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, just become aware of how different the room looks now when you look through the eyes of stillness, the eyes of quietness. You may be able to see the space around all the objects and the peace that's present in this moment. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, John. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was lovely. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, hello, Sunday Night Satsang, John and Michelle, and we love getting your comments. So if you have any comments for us, if you have any questions for us, we love getting questions as well. If you have any areas that you'd like us to look at in future satsangs, you may just give us a pointer there as well in the comments box. And obviously we love getting your hearts. And if you value what we share, you can share it on your timeline as well and help spread the light.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 So tonight we're going to talk about some tools and some awakening, and this is a year of awakening. It's not the only one, it's obviously, but this is really this is what's happening on the planet, I think, and for each of us. And I think a lot of the time we want the awakening to happen in one foul swoop. We want to just wake up one morning and be awakened. And I think it's, for most of us, I mean, for some people it happens like that, but for most of us it's a slow process. And so it's a moment by moment reawakening, really. I see it as a reawakening. It's a realizing. It's something that's already been there, but we've just been a little bit unaware of it.
It's really like a remembering process as awakening. So it's remembering who you really are, who you really are at the depth of your being. That's what awakening is really about. And Michelle mentioned that for some people it's a sudden awakening. You know, if I think of like people like Eckhart Tolle, who you know, one night just had this major awakening situation. And some of us, you know, want that as an event. You know, we want all the stars and whistles. It's not about that at all. Mm-hmm. And you know, the gradual awakening process is far more delicious than just waking up awakened one morning. So it's rather like eating a chocolate cake. You know, you can put the whole lot in your mouth in one go and gulp it down, but where's the pleasure? Yeah. So the gradual awakening that most of us are going through is we taking little bites of it. We take little bites and then we go back to sleep. And then we take another bite, you know, it's called Satori. You have these glimpses and then we go back to sleep and we suffer a bit more and then we wake up a little bit more. So it's a gradual process, and there's nothing wrong with that either, because it gives us that prolonged, glorious experience of awakening.
Yeah, and I think it's not to be attached to wanting to be awakened, because then that's just another destination. It's just, you know, I won't be happy until I'm awakened, and then we're missing out on what's happening right now. So it's not about trying to be, because you can't be. You can't try to awaken. It's happening in its own time, and it's going to be different for each of us. But I think that all of us that are on this call, if you engaged in any kind of remembrance or any kind of spiritual practice, you're on the journey. So it's a journey.
It's a journey of awakening.
It is. It is a journey, and it's one day by one day, one moment by one moment.
Yeah, and one of the tools that we can offer you tonight is a very obvious tool. It's a tool of patience. It's a tool of letting go of the need for outcome. That's a huge tool. And you know, the tools that we're going to share with you tonight, your mind won't really appreciate, won't really value. And you must understand that the awakening process is an awakening out of the matrix of the mind. Yeah. So the tool will not value, the mind will not value any of the tools that we share, because for you to realize your true essence, your true beingness, for you to fully awaken to your divine essence of presence, your mind has to take a back seat. And the mind doesn't want to do that, because the mind's been in control for who knows how long, probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And it doesn't go easily. So the tools we share, you know, it's good to maybe write them down, because the mind won't really want you to remember them. And so the first tool is the tool of patience. And it's the tool of not needing an outcome. That's a big one. The mind always needs an outcome. And part of the process of awakening is to let go of any need. And the need for an outcome is a big one. A need for things to be different to how they are. That's a big one for the mind. There's this need. This is constant, ongoing need for more understanding, more of something. So if we let go of that, and the patience to accept that within you right now, there may be resistance to what is going on in the world. There may be resistance to even where you are in the world. And it's to allow that. So this tool is the tool of allowing, and you can call it the tool of surrender, the tool of absolute surrender.
Yeah, well, I see it as opening. Yeah. So instead of closing, which is resistance, which is where we resisting this because we want that. And this shouldn't be like that, it should be like that. And that's the first sign of closing. It's our energy closes down, we go into resistance, we go into anxiety, we go into panic, we go into fear, we go into resentment. And then we close. So that's moving away. When we open, we are opening and saying, this is it, this moment. It doesn't have to be any different. I don't have to become anything more. I don't have to be any more. I don't have to be better. I don't have to look better. I don't have to achieve anymore. And in that process, we're actually moving closer, I believe, towards who we really are. We're moving back to that, aren't we?
You see, the mind that controls us, the mind that separates us from our truly awakened essence, is an organ, it's an instrument of preference and judgment. That's what it's all about. Yeah. It's run by a matrix of fear, false evidence appearing real. I am what I do, I am what I have, I am what other people think of me. And that is all an organ of resistance and judgment and the need for time. I need to understand the past, I need to predict the future. So that's what the mind is. And this awakening process is awakening from the dream, from the matrix of the mind. That's what awakening is. You see, you are already it. You are already the magnificent. You're already the divine. You're already the sacred. It's who you are. You know, from the Bible, it says that we're made in the image and similitude of the divine. It doesn't say we're in the process of being made. It doesn't say we're going to be made one day when we achieve this or do that or walk this way or eat this food or pray this way, do a whole lot of good deeds. It doesn't say any of that. It says we are already made in the image of the divine. Even your very name points to that, because, you know, when you say your name, for example, if I said I am John, and the John is part of the matrix. The John is a mind construct. It's based in time. The idea of John was born and the idea of John will die. But that first part, that's the sacred part, the I am. The I am is your eternal essence. And what the awakening is just the rolling up of the story that goes after the I am, and coming back to the purity of just this moment, the I am.
Yeah, which is taking us back to the original unity, which is all one, which is that we are not separate from the original, the divine essence. We cannot be separate. It's impossible. But our roles and our ideas and our perceptions and our needs and our wants and our desires and all of that makes us believe that we're separate. And the awakening is to realize, or as John always says, to see with real eyes, that we aren't separate. So that when we stand together or sit together, even if we're not in the same room, and all focus our energy on the firefighters in Cape Town, that's what we're doing, because we're all connected and they feel it and it has an effect. So it's that return to the oneness. It's the way I see it, and it's a process. It can happen, as John said, it can happen in an instant for some people, and for the majority of us, it's a journey. And it's not to judge the journey, because I think also what happens on this journey, on the spiritual journey, if we want to call it that, which a spiritual journey is just really a return to consciousness. That's all it really is. And I think what happens is we become very judgmental about ourselves. So we have a bad day, or we're in a bad mood, or the mind gets the better of us, or we don't feel our best self, and then we judge. And then we say, I'm not there, I'm not there. And then that's more resistance, and then we shut down more. And then that kind of perpetuates it and feeds it. So I think it's the patience thing is very, very good, and also just being patient with ourselves.
Yeah.
That, you know, one person might appear to be ahead, but it's irrelevant actually. It doesn't matter where we are. So it's the same as we don't judge a grade 1 child as being any less than a matric person. It's just the matric's there, and the grade 1 child's in grade 1. It doesn't mean that the grade 1 child's any less than. And I think we've got to see it like that. So it's the patience, I see it also patience with ourselves and our own journey and where we're at.
Well, that leads us into acceptance. Patience is really the opening of the pause, the opening of the space. So the mind the mind doesn't value space. The mind only values objects, and thoughts are objects. So it obviously fills your awareness with these thoughts all the time, 60,000 of them every day. And so, we believe that we are more if we have more thoughts. And the opposite is true. You're really far, far greater when you are empty rather than when you're full. So the mind is the one that will judge you and others. And it's when we say that, I have these preferences. Well, no, the mind has the preferences. You don't. In truth, the I, that is the witnessing presence, the true essence of who you are that never changes, does not judge. So every judgment we have is an indication that we have stepped into the matrix, that we've stepped into the matrix of the mind. And the journey into awakening is the letting go of those judgments, the letting go of those preferences. I remember listening to a talk by Krishnamurti, who was an enlightened teacher of the early last half of the century, last century. And, people have been coming to listen to him for years and years and years. And at one lecture, he eventually said, do you want to know my secret? And everyone was like, yeah, we've been coming to you for 30 years now. Give us your secret. And he leaned forward and he says, I have no preferences. And that is, well, what can I do with that? Well, the fact is that the I that is speaking through Krishnamurti has no preferences. The I that has preferences isn't the true I. It's the personality self, the mind self, the mental, judgmental self. So the tools that we are sharing with you tonight are the tools to help you step out of that judgmental mind. Because if you understand that it's the judgmental mind that makes you unhappy, it's the judgmental mind that creates the fears and anxieties and the guilt and the grief in our awareness. It's not reality that does it. It's not the situations or circumstances that does it. It's our thoughts about the situations. It's our thoughts about the circumstances. It's the thoughts about ourselves. It's the thoughts about the past. It's our thoughts about the future. And when you start seeing that, hang on a minute. It's not the object reality that's a problem. It's my perceptions, my thoughts about it. So the journey to awakening is really a shift in perception away from object reality into what's called space reality. And that we did to a certain degree in the opening meditation. We started focusing on the space, on the stillness that underlies all of the activity in the world out there. Now, there's a law in the universe that says whatever we put our attention on expands. So for most people up till now, they have put their awareness, maybe your attention on the objects of your life, on the things of your life, on the people in your life, on the thoughts of your life. And now if you start to see, hang on a minute, there's something underneath all of that that's more primal, more fundamental than the objects of your life. There's something that doesn't change. It's called timeless. There's something called presence that underlies it. If you start noticing the space, if you start noticing the stillness, that will clear your attachment to your judgmental, time-based, fear-based mind.
And therein lies the reduction of suffering as well. Never mind the awakening process. It's whether we're going to go through our lives in suffering and resentment and resistance, or whether we're going to go through our lives with acceptance and peace. It's kind of that simple. And I think as soon as we start to complain about something, this shouldn't be like this, I should be like that, you should be like that, this is terrible, this is good, this is bad, that's when we're actually stepping out. Because as soon as we do that, we've gone back into duality and away from that oneness that is our essence of who we are. And it's, for me, the awakening process is just to realize that over and over again. So as it happens, and sometimes we don't, sometimes we get carried away by the story and we completely forget. And we go back to sleep for a little bit. And then we realize, oh, this doesn't feel good. This feels really uncomfortable. And then we bring ourselves back. So it's moment by moment. And for me, one of the biggest tools is breath and pausing. So, and they can come together. They usually do come together. So just, we don't always have time to sit for hours and hours doing a practice. Just as the way it is. Some people do, but not everybody does. But we all, every single one of us can pause 500 times a day if we want to. And it's just pausing between different things that we're doing. You have a feeling coming in, and the feeling might be overwhelming, and to just pause and allow it to actually be there, allow it to move through you. Or you start one thing, and before you move on to the next thing, you pause. You just pause. You just take a small pause, a minute, a second, 30 seconds. And with that pause, to actually bring in the breath, because the breath is always there and will always bring us back. It does. It's 1 or 2 or 3 deep. And for me, it's belly breath. So bringing the diaphragm, the tummy out first, and then bringing it all the way up, and then maybe holding it and then releasing it. And just the conscious awareness, as John said, the awareness, wherever we place our attention, that grows. So if we are just placing our attention on the breath, the story starts to actually just disappear. And if the story comes back, then it's because we're not focusing on that breath or on that one. And the other thing is, you could be looking at an object, or you could be looking at a flower or something. But it's to change your focus away from that incessant story that's going on in your head, that's leading to another story and another story and another story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to bring yourself back.
Yeah.
Because my experience is that once the mind goes into that story, it's so incredible that it just goes and it goes out, and it finds other things and other stories to connect to. And before you know it, you're on a runaway train. And you've got all these stories going on.
Mental train.
Yeah. It's a mental train.
Yeah.
But it's a runaway train that you can, that it's a little bit difficult to stop then.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're able to stop it in the beginning, at the outset, then generally it doesn't run away.
Yeah. Just remember that true sanity is when you're still, when you're in that pause state. That's when you're most intelligent. That's when you are able to creatively problem solve. It's when you're in that stillness, what we call the vertical plane. And the more you go into your story of time, of yesterday, of tomorrow, the more insane we become. So sanity is presence in the pause, in the space. And insanity, the madness of the world, is in time. And the reason the breath and focusing on the breath is such a powerful tool of awakening is because the breath is not so much of an object. It's not so much of a clearly defined somethingness in time and space. It's very ethereal. And by focusing on the breath, that's a very powerful portal into awakening, into presence. So that's why the breath is very powerful. You know, it's to say it's the breath of life itself. So the breath connects us to life, and life is real, life is reality, life is beyond the mind. So the breath of life, it's also called the spirit of life, is the breath. So it brings you back to spirit and life and presence are all in the depth of this moment. They're not in time, they're beyond time, they're timeless, they're always present. You cannot take a breath at any other place other than the present moment. You can only become conscious of breathing now. So it's a very powerful, powerful, fundamental tool in awakening is the breath. And the breath, as Michelle said, leads you into the pause. So before you start a new activity, take 1, 2, or 3 deep, conscious, aware breaths before you enter that. So, for example, if you get into your car and you're going to drive, just before you turn the key, take a deep, conscious breath, focusing on the releasing. You see, the in-breath is a doing, but the out-breath is a releasing, a letting go. The out-breath connects us to being. So take that. You know, we make food and we go to eat the food. Take a moment to pause before you pick up your knife and a fork. Before you eat, pause. Go into stillness, go into quietness. That's the power of grace. Saying grace before your meal brings your body physically into alignment with the food that you're going to eat. Clears your mind, connects you with life, which is a very sacred moment. So that's the power of saying grace before you eat. But you can enter that state before you enter any activity, not just eating food.
Yeah, and it's also it slows down that incessant moving from one thing to the other, which is what we're also accustomed to, and that's really kind of unconscious living if you think about it. You're doing this so that you can finish this and get to that. So you're quickly washing the dishes so you can get to watching TV or
Hopefully
going
not.
to sleep, but I mean that's the way we work. Or you're driving home so you can get home, and then you get home and then it's a rush to do the next thing, clean your teeth, and so you can get to do the next thing. And so we never really, when we're in that state, we're actually going to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and then also the bigger picture. So in our daily lives we do that, and then it's also the bigger picture. So I can't really enjoy my life now because it's not perfect, because partner's wrong, house is wrong, whatever. So we're actually projecting our life force into some future illusionary place where everything's going to be better. So it can go from just in this moment to our whole big life picture that we can't actually be in enjoyment now because of all the issues on the planet or because of whatever. So when you bring yourself into that present state over and over, and the other thing for me is to slow down, to slow things down a little bit.
And that's what the pause does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And just
Slows
to
you
do
down,
things
breathing.
where you actually really feel what you're doing. So again, if you're washing dishes, to actually really wash the dishes, to feel your hands on it with the soapy water, and feel the water running across your hands, and to do the dishwashing with presence changes the experience of the dishwashing, doesn't it?
Awakened doing is doing one thing at a time, but fully aware of what you're doing. Yeah. That is awakened doing. So you can use all activity that you're busy with in your day-to-day lives as another tool of awakening. So what you do is you just bring your awareness fully into what you're doing now. Yes, there is an intention and a certain outcome, but you don't make the outcome your focus. You make what you're physically doing in the present moment your focus. And that's a very powerful tool to actually use during the day. And what is the purpose of all of this? What is the purpose of awakening? Well, first of all, it's just to realize who you really are always. But it's really, as Michelle mentioned earlier, it's to alleviate you from your pain, from your suffering, from your anxiety, from your fear. That's the purpose of awakened living. And we have a choice. Do we want to continue to be so stressed? And the world, in the last 10, 20 years, has just become more and more and more stressed. The prescriptions of Prozac and all the other anti-depressants and anti-anxieties are rocketing. And that is because we are stressed. And why are we stressed? Because we're caught up in the mind. We're always caught up with the next thing. We're always caught up with future. We're always caught up with more and doing more. And that is complete madness. Your life is not in the future. Your life is in the present moment. And the fullness of life is in the present moment. Everything you really yearn for, when I say everything of value, of real value that your heart yearns for, it's already in the present moment. And it's only our mind that distracts us from the perception of what that is in the present moment. It's our mind that drags us away, because the mind does not want you to be here now. It doesn't want you to be fulfilled now. Because if you were fulfilled now, it would have nothing to do. So it always tells you, do not stop now. It's not here now. Don't even look here for it now. Look in the future or look in the past. And it is continually distracting you from the incredible sacredness and the gift of life in this moment. So the pausing, the breathing, the patience of this moment, the acceptance of this moment. That is so, so powerful. And a very, very powerful tool is that surrender tool. Yeah, the tool of surrender. Just surrendering to the isness of this moment. Just surrendering your mind to the space between your thoughts. Focus on that space.
Yeah, and if you think back on your life and the most special times in your life, be that falling in love or going away or watching a sunset, if you think back to those times, generally you were present fully in that moment. You know, we've often referred to you gazing across a candlelit table at your love, at this person that you were falling in love with. You were really present in that moment. Your mind was not elsewhere. When you were sitting on the mountain watching the sunset, you were completely present watching that sunset, or looking into a baby's eyes, or looking into your own eyes maybe, looking into someone else's eyes. Those are life-changing things for many people. When you sit and look at somebody else, look into the eyes of somebody else, and you haven't done that before or for a very long time, it can be a huge awakening for people. And why? It's because you're present. You're in the moment together. And it's also interesting when we say we fall in love. We fall in love. The duality falls away, and we fall into this loving state, this oneness state with another human being. And so it's just to notice that if you look back on your life, you will see that those things that really stand out for you are those moments when you've been fully present. You might have been on the dance floor with someone, just completely present in that dance, in the music, or the art that you were doing, or the craft that you were doing, or the gardening that you were doing, or the cooking that you were doing, but you were present. You weren't thinking about other stuff necessarily. You weren't trying to be anywhere else. You were just in that moment. And so the more things we can bring into our lives that bring us into this moment, back into this moment, that's the way I believe that we move back to who we really are, which has never gone anywhere. It's who we are. It can't be anything else.
The I am presence is always here.
Never gone
it's
anywhere.
really, it's giving up the need for more. You know, as Michelle said, when you're gazing at that beautiful sunset, there's no need for more.
No.
There's no need
You don't
for
want to be
more.
anywhere else.
There's no next moment. When you realize that, you're there. When you realize there is no next moment, there's only this. There's the awareness of life as it is in this moment. Circumstances, yes, circumstances will come, circumstances go. But underneath that, there's an eternal presence of awareness. That is awakened living, when you live from that space. Not caught up in the movie, 24 frames a second. You're not dragged along by what's next, what's future. You are the eternal essence of awareness that cuts through the mind with its continual progression.
Yeah.
You're the holding space. You start to realize, to see with realize, that you are the spaciousness into which all time comes and all time leaves. All objects arise and all objects leave. You are that timeless essence of presence. That's awakened living. So the tools that we've given you so far are?
Well, we've got breathing, we've got pausing, we've got patience, which is aligned with acceptance and surrender. We've got the present moment awareness, really. Yeah. That's what it is.
Giving up the need for more, giving up the need for another moment.
And even giving up the need to be awakened.
Yes.
Give up the need to be enlightened. Give up the need to be awakened.
Yes.
Just accept that I'm here now. Yeah. And that's enough. Yeah. I am enough. Right now.
That's
right
a wonderful
here.
mantra, that I am enough.
Because
this moment
so many
is enough.
of us have got this thing that we're not enough. That we should be better, we should be more awake, we shouldn't have any baggage left, we shouldn't have these wild emotions, whatever it is. If we just say to ourselves, I'm enough. In this moment, I am enough. And it's enough. This is it. There's no other moment. There is no other moment. And that's the oneness, the unity that we are, is being, really, isn't it? That's what it is. And we are human beings.
Yeah.
So at that moment that we're being, we're connected. In that moment we are awake. Yeah. There's nowhere else to go. It's not going to be a bright, big, flashing purple light necessarily. No. It's just in that moment I mean, we sat on the beach on Friday night and we watched the sunset. I mean, it was just, it pulls you in completely. You're not anywhere other than one with that sunset. Yeah. And so it's just moments like that and recognizing them, recognizing those moments of awakening.
And there's two other tools that we gave you in the opening meditation that are very, very powerful tools. One of them is body awareness, being aware of your body. Your body is always present. So just by withdrawing your mind from the story in your head and coming into the body, how do my knees feel today? How are my feet? How are my toes? Do I have all my 10 toes? Are my fingers? How does my spine feel in this moment? How do my shoulders feel? Am I aware of the air of the room on my cheeks right now? How does the chair I'm sitting on feel right now? So body awareness is a very, very powerful portal into awakening. It's a very powerful tool, body awareness.
And I think that the more we sort of peel away the layers, very often the feelings that we have, the emotions, which are often connected in the body, can come up even more, because it's almost that there's less of a filter. So you might have suffered from anxiety for a long, long time, and suddenly now it seems really big. And you see it, and you realize it, and you feel it, because you're more present. And it might be that all those years that have gone past, you've actually been feeling it, but you've been so busy running from one thing to the next that you haven't really noticed it. And now all of a sudden you are noticing it. So that's also part of it. That's the way I see it, is that you might feel those things more because you're being more present for them. You're saying, oh, gee, this came in, or this happened, and suddenly I feel this anxiety rising up, and this is what it feels like in my body. It's to just be present for that and to notice it. Just, wow, that's interesting. It's not necessarily a judgment. Why is this coming up? And it shouldn't be coming up, and I should be over this, with whatever. Just, yes, this is coming up. That's very interesting. This happened and this is coming up. It doesn't mean you need to understand it. It's just to hold the space and the presence for it and see that as part of the journey. Because as you begin to awaken, you're going to awaken to those things.
That's very powerful. That's very, very powerful. Not to understand, because where's understanding? Understanding, once again, is in the mind. And with understanding comes judgments and preferences.
Yeah.
So it's to hold the space of allowing those feelings to be there without any need. Here we go again with need. Without any need for understanding, because understanding requires time. Awakening doesn't require time. It's the opposite of that. It requires presence. So just to allow those feelings to come to the surface and to be held in the light of presence. And another powerful tool that we gave in the opening meditation was the power, the portal of listening. Listening. The actual awareness of listening itself is the spaciousness of an awakened awareness, of awakened consciousness. It's awakened consciousness that listens. It's the unconditioned consciousness that truly listens. So the tool of listening is very, very powerful. Listening without an agenda. Listening without a need to defend. Listening without a need to add anything or to understand anything or to respond or to fix. Just the actual passiveness of listening is such a powerful tool.
Huge.
You know, for example, with children, if you just listen to them without any need to control, to manipulate, to explain, you just listen. That is such, in fact, it's the best present you can ever give children. It's the best present you can ever give them is your presence. And that comes just by listening, just opening yourself. You've got a teenager in the house, listen fully. Give them your full attention with no judgmental thought in your mind about it. Just hold the space for them. If you've got a spouse, hold the space for them. Just be present for them. If there's an elderly person that you're connecting with, just hold the space. Allow them to be in that space of passive listening with no need to understand, no need to judge, no need to defend.
And very often the person will talk their way out through whatever that is that they may be worried about, just by their own talking through. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's magical, actually.
Yeah. And two final tools which are very powerful on this journey. It's the one tool is the tool of letting go of forgiveness. Forgiveness means to let go, which ties to surrender. So the tool of forgiveness is very, very powerful. And on our Journeys of Awakening course that we do, Journey to Freedom course that we do, we spend a whole week on forgiveness. It's actually very, very powerful. Yeah, on our one group, we're doing that at the moment.
6.
Group Journey 6, yeah. We're doing that week. It's absolutely fundamental to freedom is forgiveness. And forgiveness leads to the final tool of the evening, and it's the ultimate tool, which is gratitude. Just a thank you. Whatever's happening in your life, you say thank you to it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is probably one of the most powerful tools on your journey of awakening, is just thank you. Thank you to life. Thank you to presence. Thank you for this incredible gift to experience just this moment, just this happening right now. Thank you. Gratitude. You wake up with gratitude in your heart. It's the last thing you do before you go to sleep at night again is gratitude. Your life changes. Your life will shift. The pain, the suffering, the resentment, the anger, the grief, the guilt will all dissipate in the true light of gratitude. Very, very powerful. And we'd like to also invite you, if you want to, we have an ongoing platform which helps support you through these tools that we've spoken about tonight. It's called Inner Space. And it's a month-to-month platform. You can join for a month. You can join for 5 months, 10 months, a year. If you join for a year, you get 2 months completely free. Yeah. So it's Inner Space. And that offering it's a community. It's a community of support. And that's on our website. And our website is journeysofawakening.com. So we have our 13-week courses running. We're on Journey 7 at the moment, and we'll be having Journey 8 in a month's time or so. That's a 13-week course, but Inner Space you can join anytime you want. So thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to ask Michelle to center us for the week ahead with one of her beautiful visualizations, meditations. And then after that, we're going to draw an affirmation for the week ahead, which is a lovely, powerful tool.
Pause forward a bit. Okay. All right, so let's just settle in. Make yourselves comfy if you're not already. Move around a little bit if you have to get yourself more aligned and more comfy and more centered. And just take a beautiful deep belly breath in. So from the belly. So as you breathe in, you just allow the belly to expand. And then you bring the breath all the way up to your chest. And then release it out. And you can blow it through your mouth as if you're blowing through a straw. Then let's bring another deep belly breath in, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up to the top of your chest. Hold it for a second, and then let it all go. Sigh it all out. Drop your shoulders. And then a third deep, beautiful breath in, all the way up, all the way up. And then out through the mouth and just relax and release the body. And now just come to a gentle awareness of your breath as it floats in and out. Notice the ease with which you can breathe. So really what you're doing is allowing yourself to be breathed. Allowing life to just breathe you in this moment. Just connect with the breath. Now connect with any sounds in your environment. Just noticing and listening. Connect with the smells that you can smell as you breathe. The tastes that you have in your mouth. Connect with your eyes, what you can see behind your eyes. And now connect with your body, sitting or lying down. Connect with where it connects with the surface. Just notice what's going on in your body right now. Just a curiosity, you're just noticing. If you feel any areas of tightness or restriction or even pain, consciously send your attention and your breath to that area and consciously relax it and soften it. So you kind of breathe into that area and then exhale from that area and let it go. See if you can soften that area of your body. Bring yourself back to your breath. Gently as the breath comes in and the breath goes out. Now bring your full attention to your right hand. See if you can sense the life force moving through your right hand. Full attention just in the right hand. And now full attention in the left hand. You might notice some tingling or some warmth, or just a sense of energy. Rest your hands gently, open, surrendered. On the next out breath, put your shoulders back a little bit. Open up your heart. Imagine that you had a flower in your heart. Imagine that on each exhale, that flower just opened more and more. Softening your whole body, softening your being. Gently dropping into this moment, this beautiful, present, pristine moment. That will never happen again. Allow yourself to feel the gratitude in your heart for this moment, just this moment, nothing else. Just sitting here or lying here in this moment, being surrendered, open. Feel the peace of that flow through you. Knowing that you can return to this any time of the day or night, in any situation. That we each have the choice to come home to who we really are. Now take another beautiful deep breath in and out. I'm not going to bring you out completely, just stay in this beautiful relaxed state. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Wasn't that beautiful, eh? Carry this energy with you into the evening and into the week ahead. And you're one step closer to awakening, that's for sure. So let's just give you an affirmation for the week ahead. There we are. From this pack here.
Read it.
God is love. When we say God, we mean the grand organizing design. God is love. I am love. I rest my mind here in this space. I rest my mind here in this space. So it's God is love. I am love. I rest my mind here in this space. So I'll photograph that and I'll put it up onto my Facebook page, and it's John Homewood 7 in case you don't know where that is. And also just a little notification that next Saturday evening, any of you who are lucky enough to live in Cape Town, I'll be doing a talk in Noordhoek at Monkey Valley, that beautiful, very organic, special place called Monkey Valley. And it's going to be at 2 o'clock, and it's called Escaping the Mad Mind, the Mad Matrix, yeah. And there I'm going to share my very unique map of the mind, map of the matrix, and give you some more tools for awakening and for living a more peaceful, more surrendered, more serene life. So that's 2 o'clock next Saturday. That's the 24th of April, 2 o'clock. And it's by donation. Everyone's welcome. Monkey Valley in Noordhoek. And I'll put up a notice on the Facebook page as well.
It would be lovely to see some of you in real life if you live in the area.
Do come along. And you can visit the stay for supper there and visit the beach at sunset. It's so beautiful in Noordhoek there at Monkey Valley. Yeah. Bless you all. Have a wonderful week, and we love you lots.
Thank you.
Night to night.
Thanks for joining us.